Hello, hello, my friends. It is the end of April already. Hard to believe. And that means that it is time for me to share with you guys the candles that I finished burning this month. I actually have a grand total of 17 candles to talk about from a couple of different brands. And so I'm going to try to keep this intro a little bit less lengthy because I tend to be very verbose and I want to be able to give my thoughts to all of you guys about these candles. And yeah, so all of the candles that I talk about today, I will have listed in the description box down below with timestamps. If I have any affiliate codes, you can find those down there. Let's see. Hi, if you're new. Hi, I'm Katie. I love to talk all things candles here on my channel. So if at some point throughout this video you feel like you want to stick around, you vibe with me, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And please make sure you hit the thumbs up. Consider hyping this video. But like I said, we got a lot of candles to talk about today, and we don't need this intro to be any longer. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in with a Cringle candle 4-wick, and I think I actually have this in a 2-wick. We're going to go ahead and start off with this one because we all know how much I love this fragrance. I was accused of buying this all up in the Mother's Day sale. Joke's on all of you guys. I actually did not get my hands on more of this either. It is my beloved Fresh Lilac from Cringle. I did finish burning a 4-wick as well as a 2-wick. I am going to go ahead and set one of these down so that way I don't make a mess everywhere. Fresh Lilac has fragrance notes of lilac, floral, musk, freesia, jasmine, magnolia, sweet pea, tuberose. I have been over this numerous times. This is the most authentic fresh cut lilac fragrance to my nose. It's got a little bit of the woodiness of the stem. It's got the beautiful lilac petals. I did receive some inquiries from all of you guys if they are planning to restock the Fresh Lilac fragrance while the Mother's Day sale is going on. And the information that I received is that unfortunately, that fragrance will not be restocked until they re-pour it into their new 3-wick format that has been being teased. You know, they are going to transition a lot of these 2-wick tumblers over to a new 3-wick. We've seen the prototype in the Cringle Facebook group. Mick has talked about it a little bit, but that is going to be happening soon. So unfortunately, if you can get your hands on Fresh Lilac, I don't even know if it's available in this 4-wick anymore, but the fragrance itself is not being discontinued. They're just waiting to pour it in a new format, but nobody is surprised to see my beloved Fresh Lilac in my empties. That is a perennial staple. While we are talking about the topic of lilac, I did also burn with it from the Reserve line, Lilac and Lily. Now this has fragrance notes of lilac, lily, green, floral, musk, and moss, I think is what's on here. Now here's the thing with this one. This is a little bit more powdery. This is more of a powdery floral. If you don't like lily, you will detect lily in this fragrance. I love it. I think that it pairs so beautifully with Fresh Lilac. I've actually come to the place where I really like, for the whole home effect, for it to smell like Fresh Lilac with the lilac and lily. This was recently part of the Reserve 25% off sale. I don't believe it's on sale anymore, but I love this scent. Again, it's lilac, but you do pick up on the lily in it. A nice, beautiful kind of powdery floral. Strength and throw on this one is anywhere between like a 6 and a 7. So I usually will burn this in my bedroom. Now, I will say I have started burning all of my candles in Hurricanes on a regular basis, and the Hurricane does amp this one up a little bit. But again, it's probably about a 7 for me in terms of strength and throw. Whereas Fresh Lilac tends to be a little bit stronger. I would give, especially in that 4-wick, Fresh Lilac was a solid like 8, 8.5 for me in terms of, the fragrance output. I did finish burning a Homeworx candle. This is the fragrance Strawberry Shortcake. This was released, I want to say in 2025 as part of kind of like a patriotic collection. The notes here are fresh cut strawberries, baked vanilla shortcake, fluffy whipped cream, and powdered sugar. If you are a fan of Bath & Body Works Strawberry Pound Cake, this is a very, very similar fragrance. Now you're going to see here that you're like, well, where's the wax? Where are the wicks? Where is everything? I've mentioned this before. I actually started probably about, I want to say within like the last 4 or 5 months, what I have started to do is that when the candles either extinguish themselves or I'm done with the candle, I do tend to, if they don't self-extinguish and harden before I can get to them, I do tend to try to clean out the wax a little bit, because I do repurpose a lot of my candle vessels by giving them to a local florist. She uses them either for arrangements that she is making, but she also teaches some classes at our local high school, the FFA club. She teaches kind of some floral arrangement classes, and so she likes to use the glass for those projects. But anyways, it makes it a lot easier for me to get the wax out if the wax is still like not solidified yet. So that's why you'll see in my empties that I don't always have, I don't always have the wicks in there. Sometimes I do, but you can see that I've kind of like wiped out the wax. That's why they seem a little streaky. Anyways, going back to this, Strawberry Shortcake, this was actually a really good fragrance for me. I do like this one. You guys know that I have started prioritizing burning 100% soy wax, and so that's why I don't have a ton of Homeworx still in my collection, but there are some fragrances that I loved, and this was one of them. Even though it's not a unique fragrance profile, it's not like you can't find it other places. That candle place has a fragrance called Summer Bakery that kind of is reminiscent of it. I actually kind of like it a little bit better than this one. But I love burning this with Cringle Candles Cherry Pie. That's probably my favorite, as well as with like a blueberry fragrance. I have Country Candle Blueberry Milkshake that I like burning this with. I also could see myself burning Caramel Sundays Double Dip Danish with this fragrance. But I really like this one. Strength and Throw was also quite good for me on this. I would give this probably about an 8. Keep in mind, though, you guys, that this did sit for almost a year. I feel like Homeworx candles do strengthen as they sit. So that was a good one, and I would recommend it. Will I repurchase it from Homeworx? No, again, because it's not a 100% soy wax candle brand. Now, here's a candle that was a disappointment for me and for many others. Now, I did see a lot of people say that they had purchased this in the 4-wick and they got great performance from this, but a lot of people who picked it up in a 2-wick had the same performance issues. And you guys know I'm a Caramel Sundays brand ambassador, but I'm always keeping it real with you guys. This is Pink Pastry. So Pink Pastry had fragrance notes of powdered sugar, what was this? Doughy pastry, wild berry compote, blackberry sugar, and raspberry. Fragrance profile on this was very, very similar to Cringle Candles Jelly Donut. But like a lot of other people, something happened with this 2-wick batch because I could not smell this, you guys. Like literally, this was almost like an unscented candle for me. I even had this in the candle crock. You can see how it looks kind of wild here with all this wax everywhere because I poured it out. Like I even had it in my candle crock and I couldn't smell it. So I don't know what happened maybe on the day when they were pouring all of the 2-wicks, because a lot of people who purchased this in a 4-wick said that they got great performance. So I don't know. Let me know in the comment box down below what camp you were in. But in this 2-wick, I did not get good performance. Caramel Sundays was receptive to a lot of the feedback, and I think that this was initially on the list for the April restock, but they ended up pulling it because there was just so much mixed feedback, and they were like, yeah, we can't guarantee the quality control. We don't know what happened, so they pulled it. But yeah, unfortunately, this one, really the only reason why I purchased it was to try to give you guys a comparison between this and Cringle Candles Jelly Donut. But I don't think that this one will be making a return just because of the issues that they had with the inconsistency. Now, here's a fragrance from the gift Gala. This is the fragrance Fireside Vanilla Brulee. Now, this is a scent that was part of their winter collection from 2025, and I actually really hope that Shelby keeps this one around. I know a lot of people have mentioned that they really enjoyed this. Fragrance notes on this were, I want to say, is this, oh man, you guys, my eyes cannot read this. I feel like, is it cracked sugar, spiced, oh gosh, spiced mahogany vanilla? I don't know, you guys. This is what I'm going to tell you guys. This was actually really, really good. There's a little bit of smokiness in this. If you caught my gift gala haul the other day, I was telling you how Toasted Tides is too smoky to me. There's no sweetness. I would recommend this one instead. If this is still in stock, pick this one up instead. This I would actually repurchase. This has a little bit of that Fireside component, but there's the sweetness and the creaminess of a vanilla note in here. What does it say? Spiced woods, maybe? Oh yeah, that's what it's saying. Okay. Scorched sugar, spiced woods, creamy vanilla. That's what it's saying here. Because I was like, there's no mahogany in this. I don't know why there would be mahogany listed. This is really, really nice, you guys. Again, very, very slight smoky element. Perfectly done. But there's a little bit more of like a creme brulee aspect going on here. This I really, really liked. Now, the only thing that I will say about this fragrance is that it was very light for me. I would give this one probably about a 5 in terms of strength and throw. This one was like a bedroom candle. I did burn this alongside some other scents. I actually really liked burning this most recently, and how I finished burning it, because you're like, how do you finish up kind of like a winter type of fragrance in April? This actually paired really nicely with Bronzed Beach from Caramel Sundays, which I really, really like that scent. In terms of it being kind of like, it's more gourmand pecan. Is it a scent that I feel like I need to repurchase? No, but I feel like this kind of went along really nicely with it. So that's how I finished using it up. But I do like this Fireside Vanilla Brulee. I would contemplate repurchasing it, just because I think that it's a really nice blending fragrance, particularly in the evening, if you kind of want those like bonfire types of vibes, but you like a little bit more sweetness than smoky aspect. I would recommend this one. Another one from the gift gala shop that I would highly recommend, particularly if you are somebody who likes spicy gourmand fragrances, is the scent Grandma's Kitchen. I think that this is usually part of the Easter collection, but I'm not sure. She might keep this one around year round, because I was able to purchase this prior to the Easter collection launching. Now, this is in one of the 2-wick amber jars, and I'm actually planning on holding on to this, you guys, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to repurchase this in the like dough bowl set where you can kind of do the refill kit. I do want to try that out, and since I do have the vessel, and this is a fragrance that is very versatile for me, particularly for fall and winter scents, I'm going to hold on to it. So the fragrance notes are warm, buttery strudels wrapped with cinnamon and sugar. If you like fragrances like Caramel Sundays Coffin Cake, this is a very, very spicy strudel type of fragrance. Yeah, I know that there's been a couple of different people who have like drawn comparisons to different fragrances. This to me reminds me a lot, like I said, of Caramel Sundays Coffee Cake. Some people said the last slice. I don't think so, because when I smelled coffee cake, I got more like of a buttery cake with a lot of spice, not a ton of frosting, and I don't smell really frosting in here. This is very much cinnamon, sugar. You get the buttery like pastry note in here for sure. This is really, really good. I like this. This is totally in my wheelhouse. This is a fragrance I know my mom would have loved. She loved kind of like these spicy gourmand types of scents, particularly in the fall and winter, as I'm trying to screw this lid on. But I'm going to go ahead and hold on to this vessel, because I am planning to repurchase this in the dough bowl format. Now, I've got quite a few Kringles that I finished burning over the last month. This is the fragrance Easter Petals from the 2025 Easter collection. This was not available again this year. Fragrance notes on this were sparkling lemon, petitgrain twigs, Italian bergamot, neroli blossom, patchouli musks, and amber. This was a nice fragrance for me. I really like this. It's kind of got some dust in it now, because I finished this quite some time ago. This was a very kind of like bright lemony with neroli type of fragrance. I don't think it's for everybody. You do kind of have to like those neroli forward fragrances. It wasn't as green as their mandarin petals. There's a fragrance that I'm going to talk about next that also has gotten some questions about. I've seen it in the Facebook group quite a bit about how does this compare to mandarin petals. But this was very like bright and cheerful. I smelled a lot of the lemon in here, and it was a very bright, zesty lemon mixed with the neroli. I really liked this scent. Strength and throw on this one waffled between like a 6 and a 7. It's kind of a moot point at this time, because it's not available anymore on the website. But that was a fragrance that I initially, I think, received in PR last year, and then I repurchased it as a backup when it went on sale. Now, speaking of sale, this is one of the fragrances that I do, again, I don't know, I'm pre-filming this a little bit ahead of time, so I hope that this fragrance is still in stock during the Mother's Day buy one, get one sale. But this is the other fragrance that a lot of people have been asking, how does this compare to mandarin petals? This is the fragrance Citrus Blossom and Honey. It has fragrance notes of orange flower, mandarin, honeycomb, warm beeswax, ozone, sea salt, neroli, and musk. You guys, this one is really good. This is a more authentic orange blossom fragrance. So I live in Arizona. We have a lot of citrus that grows here, particularly, it's harvested usually around the winter, but this is the time of year where the blossoms, usually like March is usually when we smell a lot of these orange blossoms when I go on my morning walks. And this smells so authentic to the orange blossoms. I think this is probably what people were hoping for with that mandarin petals. You can see that the label that they use is actually almost the same. But this to me, if you smelled last year in their Halloween collection, in the Spellbound, they had a fragrance, I want to say, I can't, was it called like Abundant Blessings or something? It was an orange blossom scent. If you like that fragrance, if you tried it before, that's what this one is very, very similar to. Now you do get that honey note in here, and the honey note, I'm not always a lover of honey notes, but I do like it in here. It definitely lends kind of like a natural sweetness. There was a hand soap at Trader Joe's quite a few years ago that was kind of like an orange blossom type of hand soap. Again, reminded me of that. This I would repurchase, you guys. I would repurchase this moving forward. I do like this scent quite a bit. I'm trying to avoid buying anything during this BOGO sale just because my budget is a little bit tapped out. And again, I'm trying to prioritize purchasing new stuff, but this is going to be a repurchase for me. At some point, I am going to want this again for next spring. Strength and Throw in this 2-wick was also quite good for me, you guys. Solid 8 in terms of the performance in my open concept. Really, really liked this fragrance. Now, the scent that I actually really liked pairing that with, I'm trying to find it here, is from Gift Gala. This is from their spring collection, and this is the fragrance Stillwater Cottage. I liked pairing this with the citrus blossom and honey, and this is more of kind of like a spa-like kind of soapy take on orange. The fragrance notes, once again, are mineral salt, orange peel, and oh goodness, you guys, again, my eyes cannot read this. Warm woods, maybe warm musk, something like that on here. Now, I will say this fragrance is definitely like an orange peel. This is not a fresh, juicy orange. If you're hoping for that in this fragrance, you are going to be disappointed. This is definitely like an orange peel. It's a softer take on orange. And again, I think the warm woods and the mineral salt lend a little bit more of like a spa-like relaxing type of fragrance. But regardless, I did enjoy this paired with the citrus blossom and honey. This is one that I burned more so as a complimentary fragrance in my bedroom. Strength and Throw on this one was probably about, probably a 6, I would say. Not a barn burner, but did the job. Definitely filled up my bedroom, and that's what I asked it to do. So I did like this fragrance quite a bit. This is more of just like, again, calm type of citrus vibes in the home. Let's see, a caramel sundaes candle that I finished burning. This, I think that it's now being called Milk and Cereal. When I purchased it, it was called Milk and Fruit Loops. But this is a popular fragrance at Caramel Sundaes that seems to come back every spring. Fragrance notes are orange, tangy cherry, Saturday morning cereal, and vanilla. This is very much the type of lemon note that you get, say, in Kringle candles, lemon sugar marshmallow. It's that very bright, zesty lemon. Yeah, I like this quite a bit. Do I feel like I need more of it right now? No, I think I'm kind of burned out on this scent profile, but this is something that I do typically like, usually in like early spring, like January, February, when I'm kind of over all of the holiday scents. I'm wanting something bright and zesty. This is a good one. Performance on this was quite good for me as well, I would say. I would say this one was about an 8 in terms of strength and throw. It's a very, very strong 8, almost 9. I have heard from some people. In fact, I think Sierra herself says that this is one that when she lights it in a 4-wick in her house, like she can only have it going for like 2 hours because it becomes too much for her. This is a very, very strong candle. But mine, I would say, was between like an 8 and a 9. It did pretty good for me. But again, I'm pretty familiar with this type of fragrance profile. And with that being said, and me prioritizing new, I'm not sure that I would repurchase it. However, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, if I wasn't reviewing stuff, this is one that I would repurchase in the future because it is a fragrance profile that I do enjoy. Now, another candle that I finished burning is this fragrance, Country Love. This was one of the country candle crossover fragrances. The notes are floral, green, herbs, rose, and musk. This is also part of the Mother's Day sale. If you are somebody who likes a floral note that leans a little bit green, I think that you would like this one. It's not too heady of a floral. I think that I am smelling hydrangea as the floral in here, or that could just be the deception of the photograph here. But this is, I like that they call this Country Love because there's a little bit of like a green grassy element to this. I actually mentioned that I really enjoyed burning this alongside a candle from the Gift Gala spring launch called Greenhouse Reverie. I felt like that was a really nice pairing with this one. I normally don't like very like green grassy types of scents, but that one with this worked. And I really, really did enjoy it. It was beautiful. Like it was just beautiful, like spring, just a different spring profile than I'm normally used to. And I really, really enjoyed it. So I would recommend this Country Love. Um, the strength and throw varied for me, I would say, on this one. Anywhere between like at its height, it was probably about a 7.5, 8. But I would say that it kind of settled more at like a 6, 6.5. This is like a high medium in terms of strength and throw for me. But again, this is also a fragrance profile that I feel like if it were stronger, it might induce some headaches. So really nice. Again, more of like a green floral, not a super like heady, like a white floral or anything like that. But Country Love is definitely, it's a like for me. Not sure that I will repurchase it, but I did enjoy it for the time that I had it. Now, this is a fragrance, another fragrance from Cringle that I think I did a review on at some point last week. This is the fragrance Cilantro, Apple, and Lime. Fragrance notes on this are lime, tea, verbena, mint, peach, and pear. Now, this is again is another country candle crossover, and this actually was a fragrance that was available when they had those painted 3-wicks. This is the same fragrance. If you ever picked up the candle Lime Lullaby, it's the same fragrance. So I think it was maybe my subscriber Riley mentioned it very well. She described it well. This is a lime and white tea type of fragrance. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely the vibe that I get here. Don't be scared off by the cilantro. I know that cilantro is such a polarizing fragrance note, but I don't smell a ton of herbaceous cilantro in here. What I get is lime. I get the sweetness of an apple in here. Which is funny because they say peach and pear. So the peach and pear are kind of coming together. But yeah, there's a white tea note going on in here. Very kind of fresh. I like this scent, particularly in the spring, to kind of clear out cooking odors, lingering odors in my house. Even though I have an air purifier, this kind of, helps it along sometimes to clear out those odors. Nice scent. Again, I've had it in the past and I really enjoyed it. I will say that I think that I liked the Lime Lullaby a little bit better. I did mention in my review of this, you saw that it was unlit. I did have some wick issues with this one from the outset, and this one has a pour date of November 11th, 2025. I don't know why I was having some wick issues with this, but I was. And unfortunately, that did impact the strength and throw of this candle. So I did end up letting this one live out the rest of its life in my candle crock. This pairs really nicely with a reserve scent called Pineapple Cilantro. If you're ever looking for like combos, if you're somebody who likes to burn more than one fragrance at a time. But this one I would say like it doesn't necessarily pair with a lot of other fragrances. So that's the only thing that would keep me probably from repurchasing it is one, again, not a new to me fragrance, but also it's not very versatile in my collection. I have to really, it only really pairs well with a couple of other fragrances. But if you're somebody who liked Lime Lullaby, if you like this in the country candle format, if this one is still available during the Mother's Day sale and you can get it, again, essentially 50% off, then I would say go ahead and go for it. All right, what else do I have here? Another Gift Gala candle. I can't remember. I know that I filmed a dedicated review on this one already. I kind of film my reviews out of order and then I kind of put them up as when I feel like they are going to be necessary. But this is the fragrance Buttercream Cake. I might have put this review up already for you guys, but this is, the fragrance notes are vanilla, cake, and buttercream frosting. Not anything wild and unusual. I am going to tell you guys, again, Not an unusual fragrance. Do I like this scent? Yes. Is it going to be a repurchase? No. Because here's the thing. With this fragrance, again, I talked about this in the gift gala, video that I did earlier this week. I have a feeling that this one might be a stock oil because I felt like when this one was burning a little bit more, I got kind of almost like a plasticky note from it after about an hour into the burn time. It started to smell kind of artificial and plasticky, and so that's why I would not repurchase it. Now, I would be very, very curious. I also feel like that might also have something to do with the flame with with this type of like fragrance profile. I have a feeling that this one is probably a lot better in the wax melts, or if I would have purchased this and then just put it in a candle crock, I think that I would have probably enjoyed that a little bit more because, like I said, this was a really nice, just like vanilla buttercream fragrance, a great blending scent. But I will say that my nose only really enjoyed it for like the first hour of the burn time. And then I don't know if it was just that the wicks got too hot and it started to change the fragrance profile of it. Strength and Throw also on this one was, again, it's a vanilla based fragrance. I would say it was probably about a 6 at the most. So if I did repurchase this candle, it would probably be with the intention of melting it in a candle crock as like a complimentary scent. But because I don't tend to like to use my candle crock a lot unless it's like in emergency situations, I don't see myself repurchasing this. But again, if you're wanting like just a good like vanilla buttercream type of scent and you prefer to melt your wax instead of burn it, that's how I would say that I would recommend this one. Now here's a Caramel Sundays candle that I did do a review on last week. This is a fragrance that they bring back every spring. So this is not going to be returning the rest of 2026, but it should be back in 2027. This is the fragrance Lemon Pound Cake. Fragrance notes of lemon, butter, cake, vanilla glaze, lemon zest, sugar, and butter extract. And I did mention in my review of this candle, I have come to learn that I don't think I really love pound cake fragrances. I don't think I really like buttery cake notes. I think I like more light, airy, fluffy cake accords. And I think that that's something I've come to understand. However, I would say of the lemon pound cake fragrances that I've tried, I like this one the most. So is this going to be a repurchase for me? No. But I do like this one because I do detect a little bit more of the frosting note with this. I feel like this one doesn't get as dense and buttery as, say, I tried the one from Gift Gala and I ended up gifting that one to Amy because she loves really dense buttery notes. It was too much for me. I did not like it. And I kind of feel that way about this one. Like I was able to finish burning it. It complemented a lot of other fragrances in my collection, but it's not going to be a repurchase for me. This is also not a super strong scent for me. I'm trying to remember what I gave it in terms of strength and throw. I want to say it was like a high medium, somewhere between like a 6 and a 7 for me. Did a little bit better in the closed concept spaces. But again, you guys, it's a 2-wick candle. Not all 2-wick candles, particularly depending upon the fragrance profile, are meant to fill up an open concept space. Some of them you're going to need, if you want that, you're going to either need extra wicks or you just have to kind of accept that there are some fragrance profiles that are not designed to do so well in an open concept because they, in and of themselves, are not super, super strong fragrance profiles. Trying to look here and see what else do I have. Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about the one of the goats from Cringle, Jelly Donut. I did finish this one this month. I was trying to burn it alongside the pink pastry. One was not a winner, but this one always is for me. Jelly Donut has fragrance notes of raspberry, blackberry, pastry, fruit, citrus, butter, vanilla. If you are new to Cringle and you love fruity gourmands, if you want something that smells just like what you're seeing on this picture right here, you're going to want to buy this candle. There's a reason why this one is so hyped. I know that there's a few people who say it's not for them, and that's fine. We all have different preferences. But for me, this has always been one of my perennial good performing. Like I always know when I purchase Jelly Donut, even in this 2-wick, that it's going to be a solid performer for me. This one is usually a good solid 8.5. It lingers after I extinguish it. And that's in this 2-wick format. I've never even had it in a 4-wick. I've only had it in a 2-wick, but I think this is probably my 5th Jelly Donut. This one I think was released maybe in, when was that, 2022, I want to say. in the Reserve collection, and there is a reason why this one is probably, I would imagine it's probably one of the more popular Kringle candle scents. They seem to, you know, always need to be repouring and keeping it in stock. It's a good one for me. So I did finish up Jelly Donut this month, and then I'm looking here, you know, I tried to give some variety here. I'm looking to see, I think I've talked about all of them except this last one. This is the fragrance Bunny Hop. This was sent to me in PR by Kringle as part of the Easter collection. Fragrance notes are cake batter, strawberry, chocolate butter, vanilla frosting. Now it's funny, you guys, this is one of those candles that I initially went through such a roller coaster ride of what I smelled. When I initially got this in PR, it was very, very oily. It was back in early February. And when I initially lifted the lid, I was like, oh, I don't think I like this. And then I went back to it like 2 hours later and I was like, oh, okay, I like this a lot more. My nose definitely smells strawberry, but I will tell you that the more that I burn this, I picked up on a chocolate note. This actually kind of reminds me, the more that I was burning it and I was hearing other people say it, kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Neapolitan ice cream without the like lactonic notes that you would pick up in an ice cream. You get the strawberry, you get some milk chocolate, you get some vanilla in there. I'm not sure if this one is still available on the Kringle website. If it is, I would imagine that it's discounted because it was part of the Easter collection. This is a fragrance that I really, really enjoyed pairing this with Kringle's ice cream sandwiches. I felt like that was a fantastic fragrance combo. So if you have this one in your collection and you have ice cream sandwiches, pair them. Great combo. Like they complement each other really, really well. This is a fragrance, you guys, that I would say that if I was not, again, in the business of reviewing candles, buying new for my channel, if I was just buying for my own pleasure, I would repurchase this with ice cream sandwiches because I do really like that as like a summertime gourmand type of combo. Really, really enjoyed that. I loved the packaging on this. I personally kind of preferred these smaller vessels. Again, that's because I have a large collection and I like to get through my candles. I will say the only thing is that it did get a little bit sooty, you know, around the edges here. I have one more of these Easter collection candles in my stash that I should be finishing up pretty soon. It's the Berry Blossom. That one is also getting a little bit sooty around the rim, burned hot. But this one I had really good performance from as well. This was a strong like 8.5 for me in terms of strength and throw. So I would recommend this one, particularly again, now I feel like these are probably on some type of sale. But yeah, I would recommend Bunny Hop. So I think that is it. I think that is all 17 candles that I was able to give you some thoughts on. I will probably get to cleaning these out and sending them alongside to the local florist. But let me know in the comment section if any of these were candles that you finished burning during this month, or if you have any experience. I always love hearing what your thoughts are. But yeah, again, if you like this video, please make sure you hit the old thumbs up button. I've got a lot of candle reviews coming down the pipeline for you guys, a lot of dedicated reviews on some candles that are either going to be restocking pretty soon, some that have been newer to my collection. We've got a lot of summer candles to be talking about. So if you like candle reviews, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. I will be uploading my Friday 5 on Friday as well. That's a weekly series where I talk about 5 candles that I'm currently burning, give you some updated thoughts. But yeah, if you like candle content, I'd love to have you here. I feel a sneeze coming on, so I better wrap up this video. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.